We've had tufted titmouses, we've had black-capped chickadees, we've had sparrows, and of course we love our cardinals out here. We've had several cardinals, so we love this thing. Hey, so today, we're going to talk about something that's not the usual for us, which is, gardening. But we're going to talk about something that's extremely exciting to us, and that's birds. We love birds out here. We live kind of, I won't say out in the sticks necessarily. I mean, we're kind of in a subdivision or whatever, but we do live in a small town, so we do have a lot of woods around us and everything. So we get a lot of the pretty forest birds out here, and we have for years had bird feeders up so that we can lure them to the house so we can watch them. We've had them up on our porch so that we can just watch them out the window. We had a company reach out to us to use one of their products and try to get their product recognized a little bit. And I think it was a good opportunity for us to try something that we've been interested in. Show you what it is real quick. Netvue sent us the Birdfy bird feeder. It is a smart bird feeder, has a camera in it. It will basically tell you whenever birds are on your feeder, and it will give you real-time video of the birds on your feeder, and it has a program that will tell you what kind of bird it is. Now, I got one of these for my mom, either last year or maybe year before last. I can't remember. It was a Mother's Day gift or this year. I got to tell you, we set it up, and I mean, it took maybe a day or two for the birds to find it, but my mom has just fallen in love with this thing. I mean, for probably 2 weeks straight, we were getting videos sent to us via text message, like constantly.
And at the time we looked for that bird feeder, it was around Mother's Day, but we started researching it earlier. We did some research because we didn't want to just get a bad quality camera. And so this Birdfy Netvue was actually the leading camera bird feeder that we had seen at the time. And so we purchased that for her. And actually, it was something I was planning on getting Matt for Christmas. And so I'm really excited that we get to show you guys the Birdfy Netvue AI Smart Feeder camera. And it's also their Christmas edition. And so we're going to get into some details. We'll be filming this video over the series of a couple days or a couple weeks, because today we're unboxing it, and then we'll get into setup, use, and some other things. And so we'll kind of be hopping in and out of this video and giving you guys some updates on that.
So real quick, what I'd like to start with is kind of go over some of the features of this thing before we unbox this. Once we unbox it, it's going to be, showing you each individual part and everything. So let's kind of talk about some of the features that this has. And one of the coolest features is the fact that, with the Netvue Birdfy app, you basically have a real-time feed, just like you would if any of y'all are familiar with, like the security cameras you can buy. They use an app, and when somebody walks in front, it gives you a notification. You can go to it and you can watch it, or you can talk to people, on it or whatever. Like, it's the same thing, but with birds. It will tell you when birds are on there. It will identify those birds for you. It allows you to see the birds that maybe you don't always get to see, especially if you're somebody who works all day. If you're able to have your phone on you, this wouldn't have done me any good years ago when I couldn't have my phone on me, but if you're somebody who can have your phone on you and you're curious what kind of birds are going to your feeder throughout the day, well, now you're going to know, you're going to be able to see them. But another thing is the identification. This thing has an AI for automatic identification. It can identify 6,000 plus species of birds. So really, no matter where you're at in probably the world, it's probably going to be able to identify the birds around you. The camera is full HD, 1080p resolution, so it's full HD. It also comes with a solar panel. You'll want to charge the battery up probably the first time. You just want to set it up with the solar panel, and it will power itself.
It's really just set and forget with the solar panel.
It really is. It really is. And then another thing that you can do with this, if you really like the app, you can share your app access to up to 20 friends. So if you're like in a bird group, or you have family that love birds, like most of my family does, you can give them access to your Birdfy camera. And so they can get notifications and see the birds that are on your feeder. And I'd be willing to bet they will start to say that they want one too. And then, you know what you've got? You got a Christmas idea. So It's also waterproof. It is built, I can tell you this from the one I put up for my mom. It is built pretty sturdy, plastic, but it felt like it was pretty strong material. And then it uses Wi-Fi. So this is the big piece that you do have to understand. It uses Wi-Fi. It's not Bluetooth. So wherever you live, you're going to want to make sure that you have this somewhere close to a Wi-Fi signal. For us, my router is on the back side of my house. The feeder is going to go on the back side of the house. So our Wi-Fi signal shouldn't be a problem, but you will have to maintain Wi-Fi signal if you want the app to be able to get the camera notifications and to be able to see what's on the camera real time. Those are just some of the features. Now, another couple of things I will tell you from my experience installing one of these is it also comes with 3 or 4 different ways to mount it, which is more than a lot of bird feeders will give you. You know, if you go to your local hardware store and buy a bird feeder, it's usually you got to hang it. Those are your only options. Either hang it or you can stick it on a window or something. This is going to come with, and we'll show you all of the pieces, but it's going to come with a way to wrap it around a tree. It's going to come with a way to wrap it around a pole. It comes with a way to screw it into like a porch or a tree or whatever. Like, it has multiple ways to get this mounted. Another good feature to the Birdfy is that, you know, there are countless ways to get this installed, and you don't have to have an engineering degree to figure it out. Now that we've kind of covered some of the features, let's go ahead and start unboxing this thing.
While he starts kind of opening that up and everything, I just wanted to tell you guys this product actually was started through the Kickstarter campaign. So you know that it's a consumer-backed product. They have a large Facebook group, which we are a part of, and they're just so supportive, and they have great customer service. So there are just your standard Birdfy feeders, like what we purchased for my mother-in-law a few months ago, that don't have any kind of holiday associated with it. But this particular one that we wanted to show you guys is the limited edition Christmas version. And there are 500 of these only, and so they each have something a little bit different. The one that we have, I'm going to read my notes here just so I don't miss anything. So it has the Birdfy AI plus the solar. It has a calendar, which Matt has there. It's a nice kind of stand-up calendar, just something kind of pretty for 2024.
Got the pictures of birds. It's a nice little calendar, something you can put on your desk.
I don't know, does that have the card with it too? So a card for gift giving that you can address and give to somebody. And then we also have, of course, the feeder, the built-in camera, and then we have the little ornaments that go with it. And so one of the things that's neat about this community is people, again, they share their photos and they'll decorate their little perch and everything so that when you're looking at your video or your photos on your camera, you see something kind of fun. And so this year they have these special Santa and Christmas little ornaments that you'll set on the perch, and we'll show you guys how to set that up.
So there's a Santa, there's a cat carrying a sack of presents, there's a sleigh wrapped up in this thing.
Probably could put a little bit of nuts or something in there.
And then I think this is a Christmas tree. There's a Christmas tree in here.
Only 30 of these that they are doing on pre-order. And then they have 200 of the next group, which is everything except the ornaments, I think. Then they have 300 of the Birdfy Lite plus solar. And it just includes that camera and the greeting card and the calendar.
So one thing that is important to note, the Birdfy AI is a separate subscription. If you buy the Birdfy Lite, if you get I can't remember if it's the deluxe or if you get this version, it's going to come with the AI. But I do know for a fact that if you get the Birdfy Lite, it will not come with the AI, but you can get it via a subscription.
I think it's maybe $4.99 a month, just through your standard Apple.
It's not very much,
store.
and that's you know, when I bought one for my mom, I bought the Lite. I didn't really know much about it at the time, and she just pays I think you're right. I think it's $5 a month, and she gets the subscription, which you know, she loves because it gives her all kinds of information about the birds. Boy, that said, we'll continue on with the unboxing. So we went over the calendar and all that. It does give you a big thick book to go through.
Packaged very nicely. This, of course, was not how it arrived. It was in a brown shipping box, and it was It was pretty good. It was a little beat up on the corners, but still a really nice package. You could probably just throw on a bow and a tag and give this the way it is already set up, and the box is all nice and Christmassy for the holidays.
It does come with a template, so you don't have to guess where your screws need to go. It also comes with sticky tack things. I believe this is for the ornaments specifically. If you don't get the one with ornaments, maybe it doesn't come with that. I'm not 100% sure. So it does have these clamps for on a like a steel pole, a pipe, or you want to put it on something you can grease the heck out of to keep the critters off of it. You know, these are good clamps for that. It also has a strap for wrapping around. This is what you would use to wrap around a bigger surface, so a wood post or a tree. And I'll show you on one of the other pieces how, you know, that it goes on the back of the feeder. It's got your hardware and your cords. It does have a standard perch, and you know, Birdfy has, so this is the standard perch, but Birdfy also sells other perches that you can buy for these for different types of birds. So they have a hummingbird attachment. They have
one where you can put like fresh fruit on there.
They've got, so they've got like an Oriole attachment. So they've got multiple different attachments. So again, depending on where you live and the types of birds that you're used to having or that you're trying to bring in, you know, you can get different perches for that. Now we're good with what we've got here because we tend to focus on the songbirds here in Missouri. So a lot of cardinals and chickadees and all that. So this perch works perfect, and we've got a separate hummingbird feeder for the hummers.
But it would be cool to have those hummingbird up
True.
close shots, just because how often do you get to have that image?
Here is the lid that goes over the top. So this is meant to help try to keep the camera and the food from getting you know, jacked up from the weather.
Want me to pull everything out?
No,
Oh.
I don't. I'm pulling it out.
Okay.
She's just impatient.
I'm just excited.
Impatient.
The birds are hungry.
All right, so as I mentioned, it comes with
This version comes with
the solar panel.
That's nice and thin. Look at that.
With that, the solar panel has its own mounting hardware that it comes with inside the box. If you wanted to screw it onto whatever post, but also it has this neat like bendy wire whatever thing, but you can, so like we're going to put this on a really thin rod, basically a shepherd's hook, because that's where we had our old feeders, and we already have a baffle to keep the jerks that we have out here known as trash pandas from getting into our bird feeders
and squirrels.
So this, on the back of this, it just screws in, and then you just take this thing and you wrap it around the pole and angle it, you know, so that your solar panel is facing, usually south is the best, because it gets the most sun that way. And that's how you can mount your solar panel. So you have multiple options even with that, which is nice. And it also does come with template, so that you don't have to guesstimate where you need to put your holes. Trying to remember.
It's a hat.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what this was when I built the one for my mom. Maybe I'll remember here in a second.
It looks like it snaps together.
It does. It creates
Is it a baffle?
A baffle of some kind, but I just do not remember where. So here you got the feeder. When it's all put together, you know, the lid over the feeder and everything, you'll fill this thing up with food, and it fills up from the back. So the lid will slide over the front. You fill it up, pop the lid back up, and then your camera, you can angle down, you can keep it angled up, whatever you want to do, and it'll just sit and watch the birds. And it's that easy. It really is super simple. And it'll tell you when, hey, it's a cardinal that you have, a northern cardinal that you have at your feeder, or if there's a squirrel, it'll tell you that you have a squirrel on your feeder. For those of you that have a security system, like the ones I was talking about, know how when you have somebody, you know, you see on the commercials and things for these all the time, you have the intruder, right, that comes up, and the person hits a button on their app and it sends an alarm sound through the camera, and the intruder runs off because they're afraid of the sound, right? The Birdfy app with this camera has a two-way microphone just like those, because this is the same camera system that Netvue uses for their security cameras. and it has the same capabilities. So it has a squirrel scaring alarm on it. You basically, just like you would with an intruder, because let's face it, a squirrel on your feeder is likely an intruder. You just push that button and it sets off an alarm. I will tell you, I do not know if it'll actually scare the squirrel. I know that here in Missouri, our squirrels are pretty immune to most things that you would think would scare them. I have had one on my porch that I have almost been able to touch as he sat there and squared up to me like he wanted to fight before he finally jumped off the porch. But I don't know if it'll work, but it's kind of funny that it even has that option. So it does have, an option to maybe try to scare the critters off of there that you don't want. And this, it's a foam piece for protecting whatever you wrap. And then the last piece, this is the bracket you would use if you are mounting. Well, you would use this regardless. When you go to mount, so this is the bracket that sits on the back of the feeder, and then depending on how you're mounting, will determine what slots, whatever, that you would use on this to mount. This slides into the bottom and locks into place. At my parents' house, I attached it to, they have the same gazebo that we have, and it's got these big triangular legs on it. So I had mounted it using the strap. You just run the strap, through this around and tighten it up, and that's it. I know they've moved it since because the squirrels kept knocking it down, but that's it. You just slide this into place, and then you mount it wherever you want it. I'm gonna kind of put this together and just take you along for the ride on that real quick. It's actually relatively simple. All right, and then one thing of note, we're not really sure why it's doing this. This antenna is very loose. There's no way to tighten it. So it's kind of just flailing around. There's doesn't seem to be a way to tighten it up. So we're gonna take our chances with it, see if, make sure it works and everything. But we'll probably be reaching out to just ask the question. If I have to, I'll do that, and I'll just rest it up against the the bracket and see if that doesn't at least just hold it in place. The Wi-Fi antenna, it's going to be very necessary. Now I don't remember how. I think it only goes on if you put it around a pole.
Yeah, that would make sense. I don't think any squirrels are going to get on you.
Yeah, I think I'm squirrel proof now. So this squirrel
anti-squirrel
appliance is meant for if you're putting it on a pole, and it just snaps together into a baffle shape. This is the feeder put together. And then, like I said, because we're going to be putting it on a small, thin rod that's a shepherd's hook, we will be using the clamps that it came with. They'll go very, very small, so we'll be able to clamp it down, and we'll get it up. And then once we are able to get it up and running, we'll show you guys the install, getting it put up on the pole. Oh, also, and this is important because we're probably going to get one as well. There are a couple of other accessories you can get for these. One of them is a what they call a mesh
anti-scatter.
Anti-scatter. It basically covers over the top. The birds can still get at the seed, but it's supposed to help the thrashing of the seed all over the place, I believe. Bird thrashing. Yeah, sure. So that could be helpful too. Again, there are a lot of accessories that you can get for this particular feeder, and then I would suggest, if you are interested in getting one of these, take a look at their website, because there's a lot to offer there. We'll see you here in a bit. We're going to get this thing situated to be set up, and
we'll take you guys along.
We are going to install the Birdfy feeder that we just got done talking about. I'm going to show you where we're installing it. I'm going to tell you why we're installing it here, what our general method to the madness is for the direction we're pointing it, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, I got my garden behind me. This is where we like to bring our birds because we like to look at the birds while we look at our garden. It's a great combination of things. Bird seed and your garden. Real quick, and I'm gonna make it really fast. If you use regular bird seed, it's gonna have a whole bunch of stuff in it that when the birds thrash it around, like we were talking about, it's gonna fall into your garden. And what you're gonna have is a whole bunch of weed, even some sunflowers. If you're like me, I like to put the sunflowers out for the cardinals and stuff, and you end up with sunflowers. You also end up with a lot of weeds. For example, I don't know if you can see that right there, but that's probably because we usually hang feeders right here. And up until recently, we weren't using the no mess birdseed. We have since switched. We use a no mess birdseed. It does not have all the millet and all this the other junk in it. It is just good seed or good bits of seed that is not going to cause things to grow. If you're putting it in your garden, please take a suggestion, use no mess bird seed. It'll help you out in the long run. Now, we're going to install this bird feeder. This is it. So like I talked about, we're going to use the clamps that it came with. Here's the bracket. We're going to use this side of the bracket, okay? And we're going to tighten these around that rod that's behind me there. And we're going to do it. We're going to try to do it to keep it up high. But the reason we're using this is because I already have a baffle here, and this is what we use to keep the raccoons and squirrels off of my feeders. And we're going to try to get it up high. So hopefully I can make this work. What we did, we clamped it up high to the top of this shepherd's hook. Now, I'm going to have to maybe reseat the shepherd's hook or something. It's a little heavy on the very top, which is not normal for this hook, but it's a very sturdy hook, so I'm not too worried about it. The solar panel. So like I said, you just wrap the that windy thing around the pole. You want to probably have your solar panel facing south as much as possible. That's where you're going to get the best sun. But then you're just going to plug it into the back of your feeder, and then you'll just want to zip tie up the cord the best you can. Keep it from getting too in the way of things, assuming I can get it to plug in. All right, and we've got a light, green light on. All right, now you'll wonder why we may be facing it towards the back of the property. So the reason why we're doing that is because this camera will pick up any movement. It doesn't matter whether it's a bird or not. It'll pick up the movement and it'll notify you. And if it can't figure out that it's a bird, it'll just notify you of the movement. It'll just say, hey, hey, you got something moving. And we have dogs. And we have dogs that run this backyard. So what's going to happen is if I have it pointed where they typically run, I'm going to get notifications constantly every time somebody lets the dogs outside. So I'm going to point it towards the woods. I don't need to see necessarily the front of the feeder to see the birds from my house. I can see I'll be able to see them on the perch just fine. Plus that's what the camera's for. So I think we're going to be okay. Now, if I have to maneuver it a little bit here or there, fine. But the other thing too is if I want to share these pictures, this is the other piece of that. If I want to share these pictures, I'm going to try to make it where there's a better view in the background for the pictures. So there's definitely a method to my madness. So yeah, you want to make sure you do not put the camera in direct sunlight. Now, again, one, it's because the heat and the direct sunlight can actually do damage to the electronics of the camera. And as somebody who has security cameras and they are installed on a west-facing wall, facing west, when the sun hits them, you can't see anything anyway. So you don't want it in direct sunlight. You want to have it kind of pointed away. The little lid does okay to an extent of keeping the sun off of it. But if you if it's a west facing property and you're facing it west and the sun's coming in, you're going to end up with sun. So you're going to have to shift it a bit. Probably best to face it north in most cases. So, but that's it. It is installed. It is getting its power. I will zip tie this up. You guys don't need to watch that. That's boring. I mean, who wants to watch some old bearded guy do a bunch of zip tying? We will go to like a final part of this video where we'll kind of recap everything. We'll talk about the code, we'll talk about options, and we'll show you the app. So we will be back with you here shortly. No mess birdseed. Also mixed with cracked corn.
We might have put that a little too high for us, but.
Oh, that's it. It's full. Oops. All right. We'll see how that works. All right, once you have the app downloaded, the next thing you want to do, you're going to create an account. It's right there on the app. It'll walk you through the whole thing to create the account. And then you're going to add a device. Now you want to make sure that you've got everything plugged in and it's on, it's working. But then you're going to add device. And it's going to ask you, you know, is it just a camera? Is it a feeder, nest? Because they do have Birdfy nests, where basically it's like a bird house, and then it's a camera inside the nest. They have a hummingbird one, and then they have like a bamboo style feeder. Clicking feeder, we're going to start that setup. We have to make sure that the router is within 2 meters. It's literally right against that wall right there, so I'm pretty sure I'm safe. If you are like me and you have both a 2.4 and a 5G Wi-Fi, you'll want to make sure that your phone that you're using to set this up is on the 2.4. That's what the camera is going to connect to. It has to use your phone to do it, so you want to make sure that's what you're on. All right, and then you're going to hold the power button for 3 seconds. All right, you hold it for 3 seconds till you hear sound, and the camera lights turn off, and now it's powering up. It asks you a couple of questions. One, it asks you if the camera is powered on. Select yes. Then it asks you, are you hearing the continuous sound, which you can hear the tone. You tell it yes. And then wherever she put the book, the next thing is it tells you to scan a QR code. Oh, I'm sorry. It tells you, dumb. It actually tells you to use. There it went. So you have to put this. I had it backwards, but you use this that it gives you on your phone. You put that in front of the camera, it scans it, and then it'll tell you that it's good. It's running a little slow at the moment, and that very well could be maybe my internet. So we got some more work to do. Okay, so now it's reading me real time. Okay, so it seems to be working. We are getting good feed. I'll try to show you this real quick. There is the view. There's the view that we have. And it is updating real time, just like a camera. I guess Amy's going to go walk in front of it and wave. There she is. So now the only thing we have left to do really is just to set up our AI. So we'll get that set up, and we'll add the ornaments because I got to figure out how I'm going to do that and where I'm going to put them. And then we'll discuss the last bits of it. And so yeah, we'll see you here in a little bit. All right, guys, it's been a few weeks. We've had the feeder up, and we've had to move it a couple of times because if you all remember, we actually just trimmed it down today, and I'll show you here. So where we had it, I actually had this this big willow bush, this willow dappled willow, I think it was called, it was huge. We just trimmed it down today in preparation for the winter. Well, it was moving all over the place, and then of course our flag was moving, and it was setting it off like crazy. So we had to move it, and then I had to move it again because I put it too close to an object that critters could get up on and then get over the baffle to get up into the food. Because of that, it kind of slowed the birds getting to it, but I have since got into a decent spot. Now I'm going to move it again eventually. For right now, it's in a pretty good spot. The video, you guys will see a bunch of our birds coming, and I got to tell you, it's really cool having this thing. You'll see in the video, we did get the scatter guard, like I talked about earlier. It's pretty nice because it does kind of keep the mess down. I did mix some of the old food in there, the no mess food, I don't know if that's the right way to say that, into it to try to, you know, kind of help maybe get them into the feeder. Also put another feeder up by it to try to bring them in. If it sounds a little windy, it's because it is. So I don't know if I can get out of the wind a little bit here. So the feeder's right behind me, but I got the little figurines up. That's, you guys saw that as well. Overall impressions are this thing is really cool. Picture is really good. It does pick up a lot of movement. If you get the light version, you'll have to obviously pay for the AI. If you get the version that was sent to us, then the AI is included and it's a lifetime. What I will tell you is that until I can figure it out, right now I get motion alerts for any movement, and there's an option in there, it's like birds only, but every time I try to go to it, it tells us that we have to subscribe to an AI skill. I don't understand why it doesn't work. I'll have to look into it. So I don't know anything about that yet, but regardless, I'm not going to hold up the video out to you guys over that. It does pick up a lot, you know, so like our dogs will walk by and you know, they'll set it off. Now that I've moved it away from the plants, it's typically just the dogs. It only happens when we let them out. It's fine. But aside from that, it does pick up the birds, and the AI for the most part has been really accurate. Now, of course, it does occasionally get it wrong. And what I've found is when it gets it wrong, it's usually getting it wrong because the bird is so close to the camera that it just picks up a color and it says, okay, now it's this. Whereas when the bird's a little bit further away from the camera, you know, it gets a perfect shot. So for the most part, it's been very accurate. We've had tufted titmouses, we've had black-capped chickadees, we've had sparrows, and of course we love our cardinals out here. We've had several cardinals. So we love this thing. What I will tell you guys, 10% off if you use the code HeyTrowel. 10% off. Use that code. It is a great gift to give. And you know, we're getting ready to go into the holidays. Black Friday's coming up. Cyber Monday will be right behind that. This is a great gift. I'm not sure where they're at on the pre-orders for the Christmas editions, but I will say this. There are several attachments you can get for this thing, and this 10% is not just for the feeder. It's going to be for all of the Birdfy products. Also, they are coming out with a hummingbird only camera feeder. So I don't know when that's actually going to officially drop, but keep that on your radar. If you want to have a separate hummingbird Birdfy, it is coming. That's a really cool thing. We just found out about it this week. That's really awesome. Instead of having to just put a small little attachment on one of these, it'll be a whole hummingbird feeder with the camera. That'll be great. We will probably buy one because we love the hummingbirds here. Let us know if you like this video. You know, hit that like button, drop some comments in there. Let us know if you guys have one. Let us know if you got one because of this video. If you really like us, you know, hit us up with a subscribe. We appreciate it. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit that little bell button. It'll tell you when we're dropping new content as well. Thanks for watching. We love all you guys, and we hope you have a great day. Enjoy your gardens. Thank you.